Hello, welcome back to the I'm Ready Test Kitchen. My name is Jessie. I'm an artist and baker from Macaron Art, and today I'll be showing you how to create these adorable yet spectacular macarons right at home. Featuring I'm Ready's delicious flavoring, we have artisan natural flavors in tart apple and their crema de caramel syrup, and we're also going to be using their finely ground almond flour, which I love using for my products. So the first thing we're going to do is get the dry ingredients ready and prepped for the macaron batter. So I have powdered sugar here and almond flour, and we're going to put that through the food processor to get it nice and incorporated. And it also helps to make the almond flour a little bit more finer as well. All right, so we're going to add the almond flour into the food processor, nice and slow. And we have the powdered sugar. This is my favorite way to incorporate both ingredients together. You can also use a sifter if you don't have a food processor with you at home. But this has been my favorite way to get it nice and fine for a really clean look for your macarons. So we're going to use the pulse setting. And I also like to do it in two parts. So we're gonna open this up. And we're gonna move the product a little bit around so it doesn't get stuck in little corners. Okay. And round two. So we're gonna pulse that through. And the trick that I like to know when it's done is you see like a tiny little inch of fine sediment of the product, and that's when you know it's ready. All right, so now that we have processed the almond flour and the powdered sugar, we're going to transfer this over into a bigger bowl and sift it through just to get it nice and fine. So we're going to go ahead and heat up the water because I'm going to do the Swiss meringue method, which is a process that heats up the egg whites and the sugar together for a more stable meringue. So now that we have about an inch of water in your saucepan, let's go ahead and prep the wet ingredients for the meringue. So I have egg whites in the stand mixer, and we're going to incorporate the granulated sugar, nice and slow. Go ahead and whisk that together a little bit. Nice and slow so that you don't get the granulated sugar on the sides of the bowl. All right, and you can go ahead and let the whisk stay in there because we'll be using that as it heats up in the saucepan. Turn on your stove, and we're gonna start it on low to medium heat. And you don't want the water to be boiling, you just want it to be lightly simmering. So when you see small bubbles start to simmer, that's when you know it's ready to put your egg whites on top. All right, now that you see a little bit more bubbles surfacing from the water, we can go ahead and safely and slowly put your egg white mixture in, or right on top. So we're gonna slowly whisk this as it heats up to about 50 Celsius. So make sure to have your heat gun or thermometer nearby. So let's check right now. Since it's a smaller mixture, it might heat up fairly quickly. So just make sure you keep an eye on it. And also, how I like to check is when the egg whites cling to the whisk too much, it's not quite ready. Once it gets off fairly quickly, you know that it's almost to 50 Celsius or up to heat. This is definitely, like caramel, you don't want to walk away from this step, that's for sure. Yeah, see how the egg whites are coming off of the whisk quite easily now? That's when you know it's almost there. Probably halfway. All right, we've hit 50. Go ahead and turn off your electric stove or your regular stove at home. All right. Carefully remove it. You don't want to get that steam touching your skin. All right, now that we have the egg whites up to 50 Celsius, we're gonna go mix them right away. So just be careful, the bottom might be hot. So now that we have our mixture ready to go, we'll go ahead and put it in the stand mixer to mix. But before turning that on, let's go ahead and put some cream of tartar. So a sprinkle, about maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. And then I actually like to add in a little bit of corn syrup as well. So these act as stronger stabilizers for the egg and sugar mixture. It's kind of like a chemical science process. So I like to introduce this corn syrup because it has a different sugar structure, and adding that into your meringue really helps it have a stronger build and to trap in those air bubbles. So now that's in, let's go ahead and start it on slow. We want to go low and slow until we get the mixture nice and white and then have a stronger foundation. Then we can go ahead and speed it up. So for now, let's do about 3 to 4 speed. There you go. And make sure to keep an eye on it. You really don't want to over whip it. All right, now that you're seeing more striations in the meringue, now's the time to bump it up to 4 or 5 and go for about 3 more minutes. And we're gonna be using the natural tart apple artisan flavoring, and we're gonna add about a teaspoon into this meringue. Oh my god, it smells so good. I'm salivating. Smells delicious. Okay, now that you see the meringue that's starting to cling more to the whisk, that's when you know it's almost ready. When you start to see the meringue climb up the whisk and cling to it, and like almost kind of like a snowball, that's when you need to check on it. Oh, smells so good. Smells really yummy. I want this now. I want this for home. That's so good. All right, let's go ahead and slow it down and check on the meringue. Okay. Ooh! This is my favorite part, seeing the meringue. I like to swivel the whisk in the mixture, and when I feel a little bit of resistance, that's when I know the meringue is a little bit set too. So let's go ahead and check the peak. Ooh, okay. I like to do several just to make sure. Okay, all right. So this is perfect meringue for me because it's not too stiff. When your meringue has a nice beak that kind of dances a little bit still, that's when you know it's ready. Now is the fun stage of making the macaron batter. So we have our meringue set, we have our dry ingredients nice and close by. So let's go ahead and transfer the meringue into a bigger mixing bowl. So try to get all the delicious goodness in there. Scrape the bowl. It smells so good. Like the most natural apple scent is coming through and my mouth is watering. All right, go ahead and lightly, very, very lightly push the meringue down. And then we're going to add in the dry ingredients in 2 parts. All right, so we're gonna do about half into here. Eyeball it. Okay. And a lot of people call this stage macaronaging, is when you incorporate the meringue with the dry ingredients. And since we're doing different colors, you really want to be light-handed, because if you're applying too much pressure, you're gonna take out all the air in your meringue. So make sure to lightly press and go nice and slow. You can do a nice little S just to get the almond flour touching and get it nicely acquainted. This is like a first date. Yeah, right now they're just getting to know each other. All right, now that it's a little bit more incorporated, we can put the rest of the almond flour mixture. All right, I like to do, let's see, cutting motion just to get it nice and deep into the well of meringues. And then go circular motions, lightly press, and kind of do a repeating motion. And you do want to make sure you scrape down the bottom as well, because the almond flour likes to get trapped in there as well. So we're going to go ahead and start splitting the batter for the different colors. So have smaller bowls nearby. All right, now that we have our 4 bowls ready, we're going to eyeball and split it in 4 parts. And you can always use a food scale too if you want to get perfectly 4. But we're keeping it fun today. Nothing too technical. So now's a good time to check our template to see what colors we'll be using. So these are the adorable and spectacular macarons that we'll be creating today. The colors we'll be using will be white, pink, gray, and black. And it's always good to start with the lightest color first so you can use only 1 spatula. That's a good tip without having too many dishes. All right, so keep this nice and handy by your side so you can use it as reference. So now that we're coloring the macarons, I definitely want to make sure that to mention that it's best to use either powdered coloring or food gel, not the water-soluble ones, because that will kind of ruin the macaron consistency. So with coloring, I like to also stay light when I'm mixing because you never know if you need more color or if you need to mix more. So I like to go a little slow to get the color right. And now's the time to, when your color is right and you like how it looks, now's the time to get the proper consistency of macaron batter. And now you can start to apply a little bit more pressure when you're mixing. Okay, let's check it and see. Not quite yet. It should roll off your spatula, kind of like a lava flow consistency. And as it falls to the falls back into the batter, it should ribbon a little bit more as well. Let's check. Almost there. It should be a continuing flow. In this step, the macaronage process, I think I've heard a lot of people say that this is the hardest step to master. So please don't stress, don't give too much pressure on yourself. Like, have fun with it and practice with the consistency and your oven temperature. There you go. That's perfect. Yes. All right. So let's put that aside. All right, now that we're starting with the pink, and definitely make sure you're always scraping the sides so you get all the batter incorporated with the color. All right, now that your colors are all set, your batter is ready to go. I like to use a tall and wide cup to place the piping bag in there as I put the batter in. It just kind of helps stabilize it a little bit. Okay, so I have a piping bag here, and I also have a round 5 tip. It's nice and small, but not too small. Oh, there you go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the first color in, and then we'll just repeat for the rest. Yeah, because the batter flows pretty easily. Okay, go ahead and twist and get your little chip clip. You really want to trap the macaron batter in to have no other air temperature or humidity mess with your consistency. All right, the hard part is done. They're already set. Let's get to piping. All right, so now that we have our piping station, I have the baking sheet pan, which I turned upside down because with macarons, you really want the oven flow to reach all sides evenly. So, because if it's on this side, it's gonna catch a little bit and kind of act as a barrier for the oven temperature flow. So I like to turn it around and have either a parchment paper or Teflon mat. I like using Teflon because it's nice and thinner than silicone, and it's a better heat conductor in the oven. So I have a white Teflon sheet on top of the template, and we have our colors here. We have a cleaning station, which is just a paper towel, some scissors, and then your scribe. So when you're creating different shapes of macarons, I highly recommend a scribe or a toothpick because it's really gonna help guide the batter into any pointy shapes or round shapes and to smoothen the surface. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start with the whites. We're gonna create these little ghosts and skeleton. So go ahead and cut open your piping bag. Let's see. Gotta make sure that your tip is nice and clean. Be careful not to press just yet until you line yourself up. And I'd like to keep my piping tip perpendicular to the mat to get that nice even flow. So don't worry about hitting the boundaries or the marks in your template. It's better to go a little under than over. So now that we have a perimeter, it's not perfect, but we can always push more batter and push that boundary out to that line. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, push a little bit more. And don't go right to the tip. That's what the scribe is gonna be for. All right, now that we have a nice border, we'll go ahead and fill the center and make sure that the overall macaron has equal batter all across and in the center. And we're gonna take our scribe and we're going to move this little tip here and guide the batter to a point. And once you're happy with your shape, we're going to smoothen the surface, kind of skimming the macaron surface with the scribe so we can get a nice and smooth surface. And this also helps get any bubbles out. Right, so this will take a little time to get the almond granules back into the surface to smoothen that. And always keep checking if your tip is nice and clean. So that's why I like to have a paper towel nearby. It's very handy for that. All right, let's start on this adorable skull. And you can go nice and slow, light pressure. You can always go over it again. And I like to stop just to get a nice clean corner right here. And we'll apply more batter within the border to push it out right to that template line. And go ahead and fill it. There we go. And smooth. This is gonna take quite a lot of practice, but remember just to have fun with it and don't give yourself too much pressure on getting it perfect. If you see any bubbles surfacing, you can go ahead and pop them with the scribe and then go ahead and clean your scribe every time you use it. Now we're gonna start with the pumpkin. We noticed that you have three different, it's more of a 3D shape. So we're going to pipe parts of the pumpkin first, let it dry, and then pipe the rest so we get that nice ridge effect in a pumpkin. So we're gonna start on the outer corners and make a nice C shape. Go on the outer side, make a C shape, and then the center. There we go. And then use our scribe to clean up any surfaces and push around that batter. You don't want to go straight into it because that will take a little bit longer to smoothen the surface. So I like to have it at a certain angle. All right, as we let that dry, we can go ahead and go to a different character. All right, let's start with a round shape because I think that is a little bit easier to start with. So let's do a nice little oval. And then we can go do that triangle shape. It's definitely tricky to find the balance of when to push more and when to stop. So that's definitely something you can practice and be aware of. And remember to make sure that the surface has equal batter. The edges don't have less or the center doesn't have more. You really want to make sure that it's a nice even surface so it bakes nice and even. We're going to use that scribe to get that nice witchy point in there. Let's go ahead and get our gray. Okay, let's make a cauldron. Again, we'll do another little oval up here. And then do the bigger oval. Right. Little points. So since the cauldron has two different shapes on top, we had that nice pink drizzle coming out of it. So let's let it dry for a little bit and then we'll come back to it and add that pink. Now I know you're thinking this bat is looking pretty complex, but it's okay. We're gonna break it down to smaller shapes for you. So first we're going to do a tiny little triangle and go straight across, do another triangle, go straight down. So you're basically making a bigger triangle with smaller triangles. So we're gonna do that first, and then onto the wings. So go here, go up to a point, go down, and make another triangle. And then we're just gonna repeat that with the rest of the wing. And then we'll fill it out. All right, now that you've piped the rest of the character, we're gonna check if any areas need more batter so it's nice and even. So just put a little bit more, there you go. And then we're going to smoothen it out. And there you go, you just made a bat macaron. Wasn't that hard? Now that we've let the pumpkin set, I think it's ready to apply the rest of the elements. You'll definitely know when it's ready when you can touch and it's matte. The surface is a matte sheen or matte surface, and you can touch it and the batter doesn't stick to your fingers. All right, so we're gonna create more C's, but just a little bit bigger. You see how it keeps its shape and that ridge? So fun, it's so fun doing this. All right, go ahead and smooth it. And since the stem is touching the elements that we just piped, we're gonna let it dry once again. So let's go to our witch hat and create that ribbon on there. So two lines, and then one in the center. Okay, and we're gonna combine those lines to one shape. And while you wait for others to dry, you can absolutely head on over to the back sides and go ahead and repeat that process to the rest. Another great tip to have a steady hand is to always have one hand holding your arm and it's stabilized on a steady surface. So that really helps me have a steady hand and makes me feel safer. Now that the pumpkin has set, let's go ahead and add the stem. I like to do a C shape and then another C shape and then cover the top so that all the batter is touching. We don't want any holes or any untouched batter because that's gonna come right off when you take it off the mat. Now that the cauldron's ready, we can add the potion mix on top. So we're gonna do one line on top, stop, and then we'll do several little drips. Now we only just have the backing of the pumpkin, and it's totally up to you if you want to have the ridges on the back as well, or you can do just a solid shape. Totally up to you. I'm gonna do the same thing I did to the front, so it's nice and consistent. Go. All right, and then we're gonna add, lastly, we're gonna add the buckle on the witch's brim. So we're gonna do a square. All right, now that you have everything piped, we're gonna let it completely dry as a whole. So slowly take your template out from under the mat. And we're gonna let it completely dry. And how we know is that all the elements that we've piped is nice and matte, and in between those ridges where they're touching, there's no shine or any wetness. We're gonna set this aside and let it dry. All right, so now that your macarons have dried, you can see that all the elements are nice and matte, and in between the little ridges, there's no more shine. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the oven at 290 or 300, but if you don't know your oven, it's better to go lower and slower than higher and burn it. So 290, and then we're gonna do it for about 12 minutes and then we'll check it. While we wait till the macarons are baking in the oven, we can go ahead and make the buttercream. We have unsalted butter and room temp. We'll put it in the mixer. And now I'm gonna use the paddle attachment. And we're gonna fluff this up until it's nice and white. All right, now that you see it have a slightly lighter color, we can go ahead and add the condensed milk in thirds. This is one of my favorite buttercream recipes. It's called a Russian buttercream, which has like more of a creamy and like savory flavor to it. And it's not too sweet, because I really don't like the sweetness and starchiness that powdered sugar can bring, so condensed milk is a pretty good substitute for that. All right, now that the butter has lightened quite a bit and you've put in the first part of condensed milk, we can go ahead and change the attachment to the whisk attachment. All right, we can go ahead and add the second part of the condensed milk. Oh, I love condensed milk. I used to eat this out of the can when I was a kid, and I'm sure that was the worst idea when I was younger. All right. All right. Go ahead and stop it and add the last bit of your condensed milk. Once everything is incorporated together, we can then add the natural tart apple artisan flavoring. Oh, it's smelling delicious already. So we're gonna go ahead and add the natural tart apple artisan flavoring. All right, and then we're gonna add a little bit of sea salt. I would add like about a pinch, because I love adding a little bit of acid to a fruit like apple, and it brings that apple right in front of your taste buds. Let's go ahead and whisk it. All right, let's go ahead ahead and transfer it to a piping bag. So I have a star tip here. You can use any tip that you want. You could do a star tip, flower tip, or just a regular sort of round tip. Totally up to you. Okay, so while the macarons are baking a little longer, you can place this in the fridge and let it chill. Now we're going to be placing the crema de caramel syrup into another piping bag. And I love how convenient this is for your home because you don't have to stress about making caramel or burning caramel. It's ready-made and the consistency is just so creamy and thick. It's perfect for ice cream, anything, coffee, or macarons. So we're gonna add, let's say, maybe like a 1/4 cup or even less. So we're gonna eyeball a little bit because we don't need too much for the centers of the macaron. Yeah, that's definitely plenty enough for your macarons. Go ahead and tie this off and set it aside. All right, now is the fun part of giving them a little bit of personality. We're going to add their eyes and their mouths. And today I'm going to be using the royal icing. I have 3 colors. So I have white, black, and pink. And I also have a food pen with me. And it's really handy to have your template nearby to use as reference. Let's see, I'm going to start with the skull. And we'll see that they have 2. Let's start with the eyes first. We'll do 2 ovals. And don't worry about perfection. This is all about the fun part. This is playtime. Okay, we have first 1 eye. Let's go ahead and do the second one. There you go. And then the nose socket is kind of like an upside down heart. So we'll do it right in between the eyes. There you go. Cute. All right, and then let's do the ghost eyes. It's nice and thin ovals. Use your scribe to smoothen out your royal icing so you don't have any points or any ripples. Let's see, now the pumpkins have adorable eyes as well, so we're gonna do little circles anywhere you want. There you go. And then we'll add some blush to it. I don't know why I love adding blush to the characters. It just makes them a little bit more cutesy or kawaii. So we're gonna add some to the skull. So tiny little dots by the eyes. Oh my God, see how cute that is already? We're gonna add those to all the little characters here. And for the bat, we're gonna use white batter for the eyes and features. So 2 little dots. And then blush as well. All right, and now I like to use a food pen for any lines, for the smile lines, or any other fine details that you can't really use with the royal icing. So I'm gonna do the smile lines for the skeleton. So 1 little smile here, straight ahead, and then we're gonna do some crisscrosses to make them look like teeth. There you go. And we're gonna put some smiles on the little ghosts and the pumpkin. Oh my God, so cute! How can you eat these when they're so cute? There you go. All right, let's do some finishing touches and add the filling. So I have the tart apple artisan natural flavor here, buttercream. We're gonna do a little perimeter. Oh my gosh, look how cute. And I like to overfill my macarons. So we're gonna do a cute little border on each of them. I really love the green. Oh, especially on the black. It's so spooky. It's like ghastly. It's cute. That is a little tricky, so that's why I like to do little dollops. Now that that is finished, we're gonna add the crema de caramel in the center. And add as much as you like. Okay, now we're gonna add the tops on, nice and slow. They're pretty delicate. Look how cute. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, now they're ready to enjoy. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like and comment and let us know if you tried this recipe. I hope this video shows you that it is that easy and simple to make these delicious treats at home. If you like seeing these macaron treats and macaron art, definitely give me a follow, or make sure to follow Macaron Art on Instagram, on YouTube, and on TikTok. And please also make sure to follow @Emeretti on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Pinterest. See you later.